the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.
Scene script. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be trapped on an island that doesn't want you to leave? Well, brace yourselves as we dive into the chilling tale of the Unearthly Isle. Picture this: a group of thrill-seekers bound by the allure of the unknown embarking on an expedition to a mysterious island. Their hearts pound in their chests, a rhythm of excitement and anticipation. They are blissfully ignorant, their minds teeming with visions of adventure and discovery, completely oblivious to the horrors that await them. In their minds, they are explorers, pioneers venturing into uncharted territories. They laugh and jest, their spirits high. The world beyond their boat is an open book, waiting for their story to be written. But little do they know they are not the authors of this tale. They are merely characters, drawn into a narrative spun by forces beyond their comprehension. As their boat neared the foggy shores of the island, an eerie feeling of dread began to settle in. The island, shrouded in a thick, almost unnatural fog, greeted them not with the warm embrace of nature, but with a chilling silence. As the adventurers disembarked, the island's hush seemed to swallow their every sound. It was a silence that was almost tangible, wrapping itself around them like a cold, wet blanket. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, as if the very island itself was watching them, its unseen eyes full of a chilling, unspoken warning. They began to explore, their curiosity piqued by the eerie stillness. The wind whispered through the trees, a ghostly chorus that seemed to carry faint, indistinguishable voices. Shadows shifted and danced, playing tricks on their eyes. An inexplicable chill ran down their spines, a coldness that seemed to seep into their bones, gnawing at their courage. At first, they tried to shrug it off. After all, they were seasoned adventurers, no strangers to the unknown. They chalked it up to their imagination, a mere side effect of the island's unsettling atmosphere. But as they ventured deeper, the unease grew, a gnawing feeling in the pit of their stomachs that something was profoundly wrong. Each rustle of leaves, each creaking branch seemed to echo with a spectral threat. The island was alive, but not with the bustling life they'd expected. It was alive with something else, something unseen, something that did not want them there. Little did they know the island was just beginning to show its true colors. As night fell, the island came alive, not with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, but with the whispers of the unseen. The adventurers, their hearts pounding in their chests, began to set up camp. The crackle of the fire was the only comfort against the darkness that seemed to swallow up everything around them. Tentatively, they huddled together, the firelight casting long, eerie shadows that danced and twisted in the darkness. The silence of the island was broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves and the low, ominous hum of the unknown. As the minutes ticked by, the whispers grew louder, winding their way through the trees, echoing off the rocky cliffs, a symphony of spectral voices that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Each adventurer felt it then, the prickling sensation of unseen eyes watching them. A chill ran down their spines, the hairs on their necks standing on end. It was a feeling of dread, a feeling of being hunted. And then the apparitions began. One by one they saw them, figures that flickered at the edge of their vision, ghostly shapes that moved with a grace and fluidity that was wholly unnatural. Each apparition was more terrifying than the last, their faces twisted in expressions of pain, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. The first adventurer saw his long-deceased father, reaching out to him with a look of despair. The second saw a shadowy figure that seemed to be made of darkness itself, its eyes two burning embers. The third saw a woman in white, her face a mask of sorrow, her hands reaching out for him. The adventurers, their faces pale, their hands shaking, realized that they were not alone on this island. They were surrounded by spirits, trapped in a realm that was neither the living nor the dead. Overwhelmed by fear, they decided to leave at first light, but the island, it seemed, had other plans. With the break of dawn, the adventurers rushed to their boat only to find it destroyed, their only means of escape taken away. The island had transformed from an intriguing enigma into an unyielding prison overnight. The boat, once a symbol of freedom, was now just a shattered mess of timber and sails, a grim reminder that they were trapped. Their supplies had vanished as well, leaving them with nothing but the clothes on their backs and a growing sense of dread. The air seemed to thicken with fear, each breath they took tasted of despair. panic was a wildfire spreading through their ranks, consuming reason and courage, leaving only terror in its wake. In their frantic search for a way off the island, the adventurers were not alone. The spirits of the island were awake, alive with a malevolent energy that seeped into every crevice, every shadow. Each encounter with these spectral entities was more terrifying than the last. They were not mere apparitions, they were nightmares made flesh, each one a grotesque caricature of the human form, twisted and distorted by the island's dark energy. The spirits seemed to feed off their fear, growing stronger and more aggressive with each passing hour. They would appear suddenly, their ghastly faces twisted in cruel smiles, their hollow eyes filled with a hunger that was insatiable. And then they would vanish, leaving the adventurers trembling in their wake. As the sun set, plunging the island into an eerie darkness, the frequency of these encounters increased. The spirits were no longer just watching, they were hunting. The adventurers could hear them in the rustling of the leaves, in the whispering of the wind, in the crashing of the waves against the shore. They were everywhere and nowhere, a constant suffocating presence. Hope was a fading ember in the face of such relentless terror. The adventurers huddled together, their bodies trembling, their eyes wide with fear. They were prisoners on an island that had no intention of letting them leave, the playthings of spirits that took pleasure in their torment. As they huddled together in the dark, they realized they were not alone. And as the spirits closed in, they knew the real horror had just begun. The island was not just a place, it was a living, breathing entity, and its inhabitants were its cruel and merciless jailers. The spirits were not just hauntings, they were the island's twisted children, born of its dark heart, and they were ready to play.
Hit the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.